Hello and welcome to Cake. Today we're using chocolate in 3 different methods: as a cake wrap, as chocolate spoons to be used with hot milk, and as diamond pralines in both white chocolate and dark chocolate. To get started, I'm going to show you how I temper white chocolate to create these white chocolate diamonds. Here are some of the tools and ingredients used. I recommend about 250 grams or about 8.8 ounces of dark or white chocolate. Then you're going to need a diamond mold. I'll share a link below to where you can buy these. And I'm using just a touch of luster dust to make the diamonds shimmer. To speed the melting process, chop the chocolate into small chunks. Melt 2/3 of the chocolate over a water bath. So I'm placing the chocolate in a bowl and putting it over a pot with some hot water. Important is that the chocolate melts with the steam, not with the actual boiling water, so it shouldn't touch the water. In the meantime, I'm going to brush some luster dust into the mold. Now we're going to temper the chocolate, meaning we're going to help it come to room temperature slowly. So I'm going to add the remaining third of the white chocolate to this bowl and stir it until it's all melted. To help the chocolate come down to room temperature even further, I'm switching to another bowl, and this one is already at room temperature, and I'm just going to pour it all in there. Then I'm going to continue stirring the chocolate for 5 to 7 minutes until the chocolate becomes cooler, thicker, and glossier. The process for tempering chocolate is exactly the same regardless of whether you're using dark chocolate or milk chocolate, or in my case, white chocolate. And what this process helps you do is it makes sure that when you're pouring chocolate into a mold such as this one, that the chocolate pops out of the mold and doesn't stay in the mold, that it doesn't get sticky inside of it. So it's a really important process. Now I'm just pouring the tempered chocolate into the mold, and I have a baking sheet under my work area because I'm about to flip this mold upside down. But I'm going to give the mold or the chocolate about a minute inside of it before I do this. So now all of the excess chocolate is coming out of the mold and the shell is going to remain. I'm going to place the mold in the fridge for about 2 minutes now. The excess chocolate we're going to use, so don't waste it. I'm just going to scrape it off and put it back in the bowl and use it to create the base of the diamonds. Now to create the filling, I'm just using one of my favorite chocolates. This is a strawberry flavored chocolate. I'm adding a touch of heavy cream, about 4 tablespoons, and melting the whole thing. The heavy cream is going to make sure that my filling is a little bit more soft or liquidy. I recommend using a piping bag or maybe 2 small spoons to make sure that you pour the same amount of ganache into each of these diamonds, and leave the top third of it open because you're going to need the top third to create the base of the diamonds. But before you do that, put the chocolate again into the fridge for about 2 minutes and then cover the ganache with the remaining white chocolate. Then I'm going to place these pralines into the fridge for about 20 to 24 hours. Now we're ready to remove the pralines from the mold. So to do that, I've placed a kitchen towel under a baking sheet, and now I'm just banging the mold against the kitchen towel. The kitchen towel helps me reduce the noise a little bit. But just like that, the pralines come out. So this was the process for creating the white chocolate pralines. To do this with dark chocolate, you would repeat exactly the same process, and you would be able to create these pralines just as easily. Now to my next favorite chocolate use is these chocolate spoons. I'm using candy melts, some flavored candy melts, as well as melted white and dark chocolate for this. You don't have to temper the chocolate because, as you're seeing, I'm using a soft shell silicone mold, so it's pretty easy to pop out the chocolate. So I've just melted all of the chocolates and I'm just kind of mixing them within the mold into each other. Then I'm going to place this in the fridge for about 2 to 4 hours or at room temperature for about 8 to 12 hours. And these chocolate spoons are a really easy way to either decorate a cake or a cupcake or to be served with some hot milk in the winter, so it makes a really cute way of presenting hot cocoa. Now to my final recommendation how you can use chocolate in a cake or dessert recipe is to create these beautiful chocolate wraps that are super easy to make. So use any cake recipe that you have, or maybe even use larger round cookies to create kind of a stack. And prepare them as you would with any layered cake, so with some buttercream in between each of the layers. And also around the cake to make the surface of the cake or the surrounding of the cake as smooth as possible. Once you've prepared a cake and have made sure that the surrounding of the cake is super smooth, cut out some parchment paper that's about 1/2 inch longer than the height of the cake and about 1/2 inch wider than the circumference of the cake. Check it to make sure that's the case. Perfect. Next, we're going to temper dark chocolate. So I'm using about 250 grams or 8.8 ounces, and I'm chopping the chocolate up and melting 2/3 of it over a hot water bath. Again, make sure that the chocolate doesn't actually touch the hot water, but that the chocolate melts with the steam from the hot water. Then pour in the remaining dark chocolate into the bowl and stir it until it's all melted. Continue stirring the dark chocolate until it's all melted, about 5 to 7 minutes until it's become cooler, thicker, and glossier. This is the process of tempering chocolate. Then pour this into a piping bag and begin drawing out your design. Make this as random as you want, but try to make it even. The more gaps there are in your design, the more brittle this will be. So I recommend doing or using a lot of chocolate for this, especially if it's the first time you're making it. Then let the parchment paper sit at room temperature for about 30 to 45 minutes until the chocolate is no longer liquidy, but still bendable. Slowly lift it and press it against your cake. Ideally, your cake has been cooled so that the butter is also cool and the chocolate will stick to it pretty easily. I'm going to repeat the process one more time, this time with a slightly different design. Now it's just time to unwrap the parchment paper. As a final touch, I'm just adding some fresh berries to both of my little cakes, and I'm finished. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed these 3 ideas for how to use chocolate in a dessert. Let me know by commenting below, and don't forget to subscribe for more delicious recipes and creative design ideas. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.